promised last week, we do have a whole ton of Marvel stuff that we're going to be talking about. This chair is excessively squeaky today. I don't know if you guys hear on the mic, but like it is very squeaky.
Get some WD-40 over here.
Yeah, that's really annoying me. But either way, we have a lot of fun topics to get into. So we're ignoring the chair for right now. Going into yes, these are the best photos we could find from AP. So I'm going to show. There's Zendaya, there's Tom Holland. We're going back to the 3 cam because I do not like those shots at all. Going into this now, we have a lot of theories, a whole bunch of stuff to say about this. Spider-Man Brand New Day does come out. It's going to be the newest MCU Spider-Man film. The release date is July 31st, 2026. Directed by Destin Danielle Cretton, who was I think he also did Shang-Chi, if I remember.
And
right.
Wonder Man, yeah.
Yeah, so I still haven't watched Wonder Man.
I haven't either.
Good. Really you guys need to watch it. It's one of the best MCU projects. It's amazing.
I can't believe I haven't watched because I've watched a lot of like things that I don't need to, like the Carter Show, Agents of Shield.
I haven't watched those.
Echo, I somehow suffered through that one. So
I stopped watching that after the Daredevil cameo.
Don't bother watching Echo. Yeah. It is not worth it, and you will completely regret wasting all of your time on that. So that's who's doing that. We do have a lot of returning cast. Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Zendaya as MJ. Jacob Batalon as Ned, who is actually one of my favorite characters in the Spider-Man thing. Weirdly enough,
the best.
I love Ned so much.
He's the CEO.
I'm trying to remember. Is he bald in the movie? I know he's bald in the movie.
I don't think he's
bald. Not in the movie. No, not in the movie.
Very short hair.
Yeah. I saw him in an interview, and he was like he's bald. Like there's not a single hair on his head. No eyebrows, nothing. I was like, Ned, what happened? But we also have some really cool add-ons here. So John Bernthal, I'm pronouncing that right. I always screw up. So. I think it's Bernthal. Yeah. He returns as the Punisher, one of my favorite guys in the MCU. Mark Ruffalo returning as Bruce Banner / Hulk. And I'm so thankful he is returning not as like the half and half thing.
Literally,
one or the other. I hated the half and half thing.
Agreed.
So, and then Sadie Sink, who I've talked on the show a lot about Stranger Things when it was coming to an end and everything. She is joining the cast in a major new role. We still don't know what that is. And it's really annoying me that we don't know. But also, going into that, Caleb McLaughlin, I believe is his name, who played her boyfriend in Stranger Things. I think he's going to be in Spider-Man, and I think we don't know it.
Really?
So
interesting.
They released a poster, and it was the one where Spider-Man was kind of like hanging upside down, and there's 2 footprints from shoes right on like the beam that goes across. The bottom of that footprint is literally the bottom of Jordan's, and who wears Jordans in the Spider-Verse? Miles Morales. Ooh. Now the guy who played Caleb McLaughlin also is posted on Instagram and stuff where he's doing a whole bunch of like gymnastics stuff, like stunts and stuff that would work really well in Spider-Man. So kind of out there. We have no hints of this, but how epic would it be if Miles Morales just like pops up and it's like, hey, here he is, and it's in that fashion. Because
I think that would be pretty cool, but
it would work.
I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Yeah, I saw the theory where it was like the bottom of the Jordans, and that's the shoes that Miles Morales wears. Right. Who else would be up on a beam with Spider-Man like that, just hanging around? So I'm like, that would be really nice.
Interesting.
That's more of like one of those hopeful things, which probably won't happen, but
I'm gonna.
Well, they did technically tease him in the first Spider-Man movie, technically with Donald Glover's character, and he mentioned his nephew, so they kind of teased it a little bit. Granted, I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but it is possible we will see him.
The whole basis of the Spider-Verse thing is that they all glitch out and just keep going from universe to universe. So totally could happen. Whether or not they decide to level that into the live action stuff, we will see. I'm excited for that. So a little bit of basis on this movie. We'll go over this quick before we go into more theories. It picks up several years after Spider-Man No Way Home. Because of Doctor Strange's spell, the world has still forgotten Peter Parker, who's living alone and operating as Spider-Man full-time, protecting New York without the support system he used to have. He also it's more of a dark tone to this movie where he's in a really isolated life.
And that's one thing I feel like Marvel's done really well with a lot of their projects ever since the Infinity Saga ended. Like, love or hate a lot of the stuff they've come out with as part of the multiverse saga, but they've really embraced a darker tone with a lot of their projects. Even if a lot of their projects haven't been received very well, they really lean into that darker tone, which I really love.
Well, we have the villain, like some of the villain lists. We don't know who the core villain is going to be just yet, but we know that we have appearances from Scorpion, Tombstone, Boomerang, Tarantula, as well as the Hand, the hand is always a safe option because Daredevil just did really well, and that's one of the main bases of the Daredevil series and the Defenders. So again, is this kind of a way for Marvel to play it safe, for something they know that works, and they're just kind of combining it? Because that's my only thing with Daredevil is Kingpin is like a really extended long story, and I love Kingpin, but like they've extended that villain out for a matter of I think 5 seasons now.
Yeah, or
it's a stretched
4 or
out
5,
storyline.
yeah.
It makes no sense. It even became the mayor after being arrested multiple times.
I
and stuff.
still,
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I'll admit it. And Daredevil is one of my favorite series. It is my favorite series, so we'll make it work. But I do have the trailer from Spider-Man. We're actually gonna play that for you guys really quick. We'll be right back.
I can't believe our first hit MIT! MJ, come on, pretend like you're not the happiest you've ever been in your entire life.
I can't.
I knew it!
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but we used to know each other. Something bad was going to happen, and the only way to stop it was to make everyone forget about me. Because I'm not just Peter Parker. I'm Spider-Man.
The hell, Frank? You just hit me with a van!
Quit your whimpering. Suit yourself. Mother.
Go home!
And sometimes Spider-Man has to do the hard thing, even if it breaks Peter Parker's heart. What is happening to me? Oh, God. Excuse me, Dr. Banner. I need your help.
What did you say your name was? If DNA is mutating, it would be enormously dangerous.
Spiders have 3 life cycles. When between cycles, it can leave the spider vulnerable to threats.
We are faced with a danger that we can't control. One we can't even see. Stay out of my way.
You're losing it, kid.
And for those spiders who make it through, it amounts to a kind of rebirth.
Nice flowers.
Oh, they're a housewarming gift.
I'm MJ.
I'm just a neighbor from across the hall.
Friendly neighbor.
I think I need a friendly neighbor. I don't know my neighbors, but I wish it was Spider-Man. But yeah, a whole lot too. And that was one of the initial ones we've had. So there's been more teasers and stuff following that. We just don't have the rights to it yet on this show. A whole bunch of going on. Does somebody want to jump into one of their first theories?
Yeah, so we're just talking about it while we were watching it, but the very end there, when they're talking about the spider's life cycles, that has been confirmed to be Keith David.
Yep.
He's also in a mystery role. We don't know who he's playing either. And you were talking earlier about how we don't know who the villain is. Now, the popular theory is that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey, which I think she is. And the whole thing is that the Department of Damage Control is demonizing her and hunting for her, and that's who the Punisher is protecting. And I think that is true in a big part of the movie, but that still leaves us without a main villain, and I think that is Keith David as the Jackal. I've seen a lot of internet theories about this, and the whole thing is that this thing happening with Spider-Man where his powers are evolving has to do with a type of virus that the Jackal created, trying to leave his dying body and take over Peter's, but it's not working. And that's where the hand factors in because they think he's some type of spider god. So they're actually not trying to find Daredevil like a lot of theories say, which I was always wondering how they factored into the film, but they still are in a prison, which is where we leave Daredevil
I was just gonna
born
say,
again.
Daredevil's not confirmed in it, but it
Right.
would make
But
sense.
with the hand,
Yeah,
exactly,
and the hand's
yeah.
there, they're also in a prison fighting the hand.
Exactly.
What are the chances it's not Daredevil? I feel
literally.
like it's pretty low. And that series did well. So again, could be Marvel playing it safe if they decide to put Matt Murdock into it. And they did that in a couple shows. They did it in She-Hulk.
Yeah.
You know, and that boosted a lot of viewerships for that episode. So I do think that plays a big one. Now, is that all you had for your theory? Because I'm gonna go into a crazy one here.
Just to kind of cap it off, my hot take: Daredevil's not going to be in this. I think they're going and I love it. They're going so self-contained with this. I just don't see where he factors into the story.
Yeah,
you know,
I don't know
he'd just be like
play.
an add-on and just feel like a distraction.
Right. Now we know the Defenders are coming back and like a full thing. That is confirmed that they're making their way back in. So that'd be Luke Cage, Iron Fist. We have Jessica Jones, who already made her return, and Daredevil, of course, has returned. The Punisher is already in this. That is really expanding a big Defenders cast if you throw it into this movie. And I feel like it'd be weird to throw them in and just not advertise the return of the Defenders. Like,
exactly.
I get the surprise
That's
factor,
fair,
but like,
yeah.
they probably also would give more hints to it to be like, all right, we know it's gonna pull in views. Why would we not? Now my crazy one, and I kind of told you guys a little bit about this. I think Peter Parker dies.
I agree with you. I think that's how it ends.
Yep. So I think it was at the end of the last Spider-Man where we saw the symbiote thing from Venom on the bar counter.
Yep.
I think in Spider-Man's, you know, evolving and all this, blah, blah, blah. I think we do see him die. And of course it's gonna be like right after like MJ remembers who he is and stuff like that. So then it hurts because there's gonna be some way where MJ and Ned remember him, then he ends up dying. And then they're all heartbroken as soon as they're reunited. And then this is going to lead into, you know, I think something where like he's buried and then the symbiote's there with him. And there's already a spider
I like
connection.
that.
He kind of crawls out of the ground in the dirt, but as like Venom in that kind of role. And then that's how you see him enter, because he's not confirmed for Avengers Doomsday.
He's not in it. He's confirmed to not be in it. Yeah.
So I would not be shocked if they try and drag, because Venom also has been a successful thing for Marvel.
So much
I would
money.
if they can get another Venom movie with Tom Holland. Do you know how much money that's gonna bring?
Dude, that's gonna be huge.
That is going to be a huge movie for them.
Yeah,
so
it makes sense story-wise too, just with all the evolving, you know, stuff going on. Venom always seeks a powerful host, and what better host who's also going through so much stuff mentally. Yeah.
Tom Holland's this guy too, where like he's a good face for Marvel, where no matter what they put him in, it's going to be a successful movie.
Oh yeah,
in my opinion. And certain people play that role. I think they tried that out with Thor, trying to throw him into a couple random things. It works. I mean, everyone loves Thor. We'll get to that when we go to Avengers Doomsday. But one last thing I wanted to get to, and we talked about this. Did I already bring up Miles Morales? I think I did.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I did. All right. Well, that was my last thing with Spider-Man. So one last thing with a poster, though. We did have the chessboard, which we also had seen Magneto and Professor X playing with.
Yeah, I think the X-Men might play a bigger role, because I think it was the old Spider-Man animated show from the 90s where we see a similar plot line, but he goes to the X-Men because of the mutation. So we'll have to see what happens.
We have a poster where it's just the King standing alone and all the other pieces are falling over. So it's like the last stand there. And there's actually a spider crawling across the chessboard with everything else fallen. So I'm wondering if, you know, because Tom Holland spoils everything. How crazy would it be for like the last stand to be like Spider-Man going ballistic in Doomsday? Because if everything else has fallen and this is your last hope, and it's like, oh, I thought he wasn't in there. Again, me being really hopeful because I love Spider-Man. You know, how cool would it be to be like, oh, he wasn't confirmed, and then he just randomly pops up and like, you know, plays his key role in it. So
I see that happening in Secret Wars. Where I see it happening.
You could even extend it out to Secret Wars, because you know, we have nothing about the cast list on that. We will talk more about Avengers Doomsday, and we already ran this out for 14 minutes. This is a 28-minute show here, so yeah, we definitely need to go to a commercial break because we still have to run 2 of these. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk more about not just Spider-Man, but the Avengers. And we are back with the weekend wrap. We're talking more Marvel, of course, as we just did for 14 and a half minutes, but we're not talking about Spider-Man. That's a lot of Spider-Man to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
That's
the hottest movie.
Yeah, there's never enough. But we're going to talk about Doomsday, because this is another huge one that's coming out. Release date is set for December 18th of 2026. That does follow a delay from, because it was supposed to be in May, was the initial release. Very upset about that, because it means we would have already seen it. But didn't happen. So, yeah, we have directors Anthony and Joe Russo. They returned to direct their first Avengers movie since Endgame, And they also directed Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame. So they've done pretty well leading up to this point. I'll put a little bit of trust in there. And huge, we have the main villain. So to kind of jump right to our main villain here, in my opinion, a cheap grab from Disney. Not the biggest fan
a little bit.
Incredibly cheap.
Robert Downey Jr. will return to the MCU, not as Iron Man, but he plays Victor Von Doom or Doctor Doom, one of the most iconic villains that wasn't used well in the original Fantastic Four films. They
did not
do any justice to this villain.
Well, in the original ones, he wasn't that bad, but then the reboot in 2015 was just atrocious.
Oh, that movie was horrendous.
I have a hot take.
Okay.
It's not a good movie.
Don't tell me you liked it.
So, long story short, I snuck into it after seeing Age of Ultron when I was like 10 or 11.
Right.
And it was the scene where Doom is walking down the hallway, bursting people's heads with his mind.
Right.
I thought it was so sick. And then I watched the rest of the movie and I was
true.
like, this sucks. But
Yeah.
that scene is so cool.
Yeah.
That's my hot take.
The worst part of that movie is how they represented the Thing. That was just a horrible way to do it. At first, with the new Fantastic Four, I really hated how the Thing looked, and I know it was comic.
Really,
I did not
loved
like it.
They
at
did
all
a great job. What do you mean?
At first, I really hated it, but then it grew on me. I was like, oh, I kind of like it, but I don't know.
awesome.
I was kind of like, I don't think I like how goofy it looks because it does look a little bit goofy. But I was
You
like,
think so?
yeah,
Really?
'cause
Just
I-
the eyebrows?
Yeah,
or
I think I was
eh.
like used to the original, and I watched those a lot growing up, and I was like, it looked more realistic, and I thought I liked that until I actually watched the movie. I was like, actually, no, I like the movie.
Yeah,
a lot
that's
more.
fair.
So, I completely backtracked on that. Now, to go into a lot of returning cast here, we have a whole bunch of people in this. Chris Hemsworth returning as Thor. Anthony Mackie is listed as Captain America. Don't get me started on that.
Oh, boy.
Sebastian Stan is the Winter Soldier. Letitia Wright as the Black Panther. Again, don't get me started on that. Paul Rudd is Ant-Man, which I'm rewatching all the Ant-Mans right now. They couldn't have had a better cast for Ant-Man, in my opinion.
No,
yeah,
he's
no.
perfect fit. Yeah.
I think, and I know Ryan Reynolds is supposed to be like the guy. I think I would put him well above Ryan Reynolds any day of the week.
I agree
love
with
Paul
that.
Rudd. So,
yeah.
Simu Liu, I believe I pronounced that right. Is
That sounds about
Shang-Chi.
right.
Florence Pugh, I love this character so much. She will be returning as Yelena Belova. I think she's so good. Like, I love Florence Pugh in this series. Really wish she still had the dynamic with Black Widow, but that's not happening. So, the Fantastic Four cast will return, and we have a lot of X-Men cast to return.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Gosh.
we know Professor X is in there. We have Cyclops. We have Magneto. I don't think we have confirmation on Wolverine.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't believe we do.
But-
So
I think there's a lot of people like that, like
But-
Wolverine, that will be in the
But-
movie.
Yeah.
There was I don't know if any of you have seen this, but there was a 2-minute clip that leaked and was confirmed to be real. It's of the final battle. There's a couple other returning X-Men cast in there. I don't know if we want to go into spoilers. I can say the ones I saw.
That's
Okay, I
not
mean-
go there. Let's not go
Okay,
there.
there
That's
was-
not. No.
There, okay.
Yeah, so there's a whole bunch happening with this movie. We know, I mean, the theories are just kind of endless with it, and
Yeah.
where it's gonna fall. We kind of just got into the chessboard thing. One of my biggest ones is, how does this play if we see Tony Stark's daughter, or even his wife
Oh.
make an appearance here, and Tony Stark's there, but it's not Tony Stark. It's him, but it's a different version of him, where he's a total villain in this. So I think there's going to be a big emotional dynamic with that, where they try to really
absolutely.
play that out.
I have a hot
I
take.
really wish that they would. I don't know where the timeline falls, how far after Endgame this is.
Yeah.
But
I think
would
it's
like
just
to
too
see
early to
his-
say.
Yeah, I would like to see his daughter, because we're building towards the Young Avengers here. We have the
Yes.
the Hulkling. I forget his name. I think it's like Scar.
Scar.
Scar. I think they might call him Scar, if I remember right. We have Kate Bishop, the young Hawkeye who came in. We also have Miss Marvel, who also was in one of the ends of the Marvels. That was the
Yes,
end scene at the Marvels. So we're building towards that. And Ironheart was a big failure. I turned it off as soon as I heard her say, she basically bashed Tony Stark, and it's like that was like within the first 10 minutes where they were like,
Yeah.
would Tony Stark even be Iron Man if he wasn't rich? It's like, yeah, he built it, and like that's
the
the
whole
whole
point.
basis, is that like he
Yeah.
could build anything from nothing. So I hated that. Gave up on that series. One of the few ones I didn't watch. So I think we have to build Tony Stark's daughter to have the Iron Man replacement, I guess you can kind of call it.
Yeah.
And I hope that plays a big part of it. And a driving factor for her joining the Young Avengers. And this is how they could easily get the ball rolling on this, is having his daughter a little bit older, joining the Young Avengers, and she has to fight her father, but not really her father.
Yeah.
There is a flashback that got, or not a flashback, but there is a flash forward actually that was cut from Endgame where after Tony Stark snaps his fingers, he goes to the Soul Realm and he sees, I can't remember her name from 13 Reasons Why as the older version.
Oh my gosh,
yes. I
What's her
cannot
name?
remember her name.
Yeah.
She's the Knives Out. I can't remember.
Isn't it like something Morgan?
I think you're right about that. I cannot.
Or is that the
remember
name
what
of
it
his
is.
daughter?
Yeah. But
I can't
I could see her
remember.
returning, but here's my hot take. They're not going to do anything with him also playing Tony Stark in Doomsday. Maybe Secret Wars. I don't think he's going to take his mask off at all until maybe the end. I think they're completely not doing that at all.
Completely hiding his identity until the end of the movie.
I think that's what they'll do.
Not a crazy.
If he even reveals
I really
it.
don't like that, but that's probably what's going to happen now that you mention it. I hate that, but it's extremely realistic.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the biggest thing. I feel like Doomsday and Secret Wars are setting up kind of the next era where we have the younger Avengers, but then you bring the Fantastic Four into the fold, and they've been slowly building and teasing the X-Men forever now.
Building for so, and I've justified
that's my
so
issue with
many
the
movies.
MCU. It's only building.
Right, and we
no
ending.
ending.
Like
It's
the
all building.
Thunderbolts. Like
I love
had
Thunderbolts.
It had a good
That was great.
storyline. There wasn't a whole ton of action in that movie. It was a
I was
builder
fine
movie.
with that. Well, I was fine with it just being a character study. I didn't
And
need
that's
I was
like,
chilling with
it's
all
nothing
the.
that'd be like, oh, like this was like one of the peak Marvel movies. But it builds towards a story, and that's been the case for a lot of these. Like Thor: Love and Thunder was really bad. We talked about
hated that movie.
But that builds into this one
because
we introduced that his adopted daughter type of deal there. Again, can lead into the Young Avengers. There's so many builders, and it's just like I can only defend them so much and be like, oh, well, it's a builder movie. You have to let it happen because there's a long list of builder movies now.
No, literally.
You know what? Actually,
I'm not going to completely blame Marvel for that, though, because then you had a lot of the fiascos with, all these limited series. That was the hot thing that everyone was doing, not just Marvel. All the issues with communication after COVID and trying to push stuff out to streaming because everyone thought it was the hot thing. And then a lot of other stuff happened with actors and everything else that changed their plans multiple times. I think a lot just happened that they couldn't necessarily control or couldn't foresee, and that kind of led to where we are now.
The thing is, we know these heroes work. It's been tried and true. It works. There's a certain point where you have to give up, though, and
Agreed.
move on. There is, like, the whole comic universe is so expanded, and they can do so much with so many heroes that they haven't. Like, going into, like, DC, the Blue Beetle movie got, like, no highlights. Blue Beetle was a good movie. It was a super
I
good
loved
hero-
Blue
I
Beetle.
thought it was all right, but you know what I liked that
Yeah.
they did that Marvel needs to do? His own thing, self-contained. I think they're going to do with Spider-Man, which is nice. And that's the thing. Just go back to phase one. You have all these individual characters. You get to Avengers, and then you let it mesh.
Right.
You
Or
don't-
we know
you
who
build
these
it
superheroes
backwards.
are. Let's take these ones that nobody knows of and make people love them. That's my opinion on it. There's so
Exactly.
many out
Yes.
there. You have the room to do it. We have to get to one more commercial break. And when we return from that, we're only going to have a few minutes left. So we're going to go to a commercial break, but we're not done with the topic yet. Just... And we are back, and I am so happy that we dedicated. Oh, we have the goodbye playing. I'm so happy we dedicated an entire episode just to Marvel because you can keep talking about it. Week after week after
absolutely.
week.
Endless.
But it's good just to like. I mean, even here we could go for an hour if we really wanted to. We're getting close to a half hour here, but I kind of want to talk about leading up to this. Was there a series of really useless movies? And I mean, there obviously was because they abandoned an entire storyline. Something huge we're missing is Loki. Like, we never brought him up. Loki has to play a part in this.
He does.
Oh, yeah.
And it irks me because he does, but I love his ending. And I wish they're going to undo it, but I love his ending so much.
Same with the Scarlet Witch, in my opinion. I think everyone's out of their depth with Doctor Doom. So you're going to see, like, the Scarlet Witch. Because in her show, the card that she pulls in the tarot card reading is the, it's like Towers rebuilding. She died under a tower that crushed her. Towers rebuilding easily teases to her making a return. And it's a nice insurance thing on Marvel's end because they're like, oh, well, we can do it or we cannot do it. It works either way. If they need it, and Scarlet Witch is going to pull in, it's, again, a good
They're not
safety
getting
net
rid of
for
her.
them.
Not after doing her Dead Children arc
Absolutely
twice.
not. So I
no.
think that makes a big comeback. And I think that they're out of their depth. And the only way to fight Doctor Doom, and maybe this is a Secret Wars thing, is, or I think this would even be maybe towards the end of Doomsday, we see this open back up, is you have to use magic. And we open that up. So Shang-Chi has a little bit of that magic factor.
The
Maybe
10
but,
rings,
like,
there was a lot of mystery left there.
I think we see Loki as well as Scarlet Witch. I'm trying to think. There's got well, we introduced Death, but I don't think that's a part of it, in my opinion. I think we're just gonna ignore
Death
it.
was in the MCU.
Yeah, I think
I
we're just
forgot
gonna
about
forget
that.
about
Yeah.
that, honestly.
Yeah.
But I mean, we gave Agatha Harkness an entire show, so maybe that makes an appearance. They've really expanded. Oh, Doctor Strange, the biggest one. That's who I was trying to think of. I think those are going to be your core three: Doctor Strange, Loki, as well as like, could you imagine?
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
Could you imagine how strong like that group of three would be? Like that's an unstoppable group.
The god of stories,
yeah,
the master of the
Strange
mystical
is
arts.
My favorite Avenger. Like
that's
dude, he's underrated in my
opinion. His
Dude,
first movie is one of my favorite in the MCU.
Yeah, it's so good, and no matter how many times I watch it, I'm intrigued every time with how well they did, like the kaleidoscope features and everything like that. It's so good.
It's also one of those rare Marvel movies where I always think of the scene where he's just in his apartment looking out the city and he just looks at his shaking hands and he's just angry. You don't get quiet scenes like those in a lot of superhero movies, and that's something that always stuck out to me with it.
And that's something that I love, because like Thor: Love and Thunder was a childish movie. There was no seriousness to it, but I enjoy a little bit of seriousness to this. So like him being at his lowest point in life, I enjoyed that.
Exactly.
And I think we're doing that with the new Spider-Man here. He's it's very serious, and the thing is, a lot of us who grew up watching these movies, we're adults now. We're okay with that. Thor: Love and Thunder was meant for 12-year-olds. That's just the reality of that movie.
Well, I think they tried to replicate what they did with Ragnarok, but there were certain elements that were missing from the movie.
I just don't think they tried. I think they took the blank check and were like, whatever, we don't have to try. They love us. Yeah.
Right. Do we think we ever see the Eternals again, or is that just like a completely lost thing?
Maybe.
I read something today about Avengers Judgment Day, and I'll let you guys go search that up after the show.
I gotta look at that. But I feel like we can't completely pretend that never happened. I get pivoting from their storyline. I actually have not watched that all the way through yet. I always
it's underrated.
Go do it in bits and pieces. It's fine. It's definitely far from my favorite, but
it's middle of the road.
I think it got way more hate than it deserved.
Exactly.
By a landslide. Kind of reminds me of Shazam. It gives me Shazam.
A little, kind of with the magic and everything.
Right, and then you have like all like the people in like different outfits, but they're like the same.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So we are out of time today, unfortunately. We thank you for joining us, and as it gets closer, I'm sure we'll have more to talk about with Marvel. Thanks for joining us. Have a nice weekend.